I do set alerts, but because I'm not looking at the 50-minute chart, watching every candle to find if there's a trade. Yeah, the way I look to trade, I try to have a bias on the higher time frame, and the reason why I use the 4-hour chart is to scale lower and to maximize my risk to reward, and the 15 as well. I scale even lower to maximize the risk reward even higher, especially when there's more shallow pullbacks. So it's not a case where I'm looking at every single 50-minute candle because I know the patterns. I know the type of price action I'm looking for an entry. So, for example, GU right now, I can tell from price that I don't have a trade at all. So I'm probably going to check this one maybe every 2-3 hours. Yeah, because I can tell there's no setup for me to take. If I can see there's a setup quite close, because I'll wake up in the morning and I'll do my analysis for the day. So that's kind of that would my analysis in the morning would tell me how often I need to check the chart or if I need to set alerts. So, for example, when I woke up this morning looking at GU, I was like, okay, we're in a nice area. I'm not quite seeing an entry that would suffice for me to get into the trade. So I'll keep an eye on price, but I don't need to be glued to the screen. I can probably check this every couple of hours, maybe even 3 hours. In terms of like GA, which I took earlier in the day, earlier in the week, this one, when I woke up and I took a trade here, which failed, and then I re-entered. For this one, I knew because where did I wake up? Yeah, I woke up here. I knew that price instantly was in the area, and the way price was trading reflected the pattern which I wanted to trade. So I was very much focused in that morning. Pretty much spent the whole morning watching Pound Aussie. I was doing other things, but I had Pound Aussie on my screen. So I took the trade. It failed, but because I knew price was still in the area which I still like the buys for, I still pretty much watched it throughout the day. And then around 2 p.m. UK time, which would be 3 p.m. Here in Kigali, is when I got the next position. And then from there, I just let the market do its thing, and I checked it every few hours after that. But yeah, it depends on the situation. So there will be some days where I'm spending pretty much the whole morning watching a pair. And there'll be some days where I know the odds of an entry are quite slim, so I'll check it every maybe 2-3 hours. So basically, it varies. It depends if it's close to an entry or not. And yes, I do use alerts as well. But if I'm at my desk, I normally have the screen up, so I don't really need to have an alert because I'll check. We'll go through Aussie dollar and Aussie yen for solo, no problem. BEC, Euro USD, okay, we can take a look at that as well. So Aussie dollar, pretty bearish this morning, rolled over. I still like the shorts for Aussie dollar, but I'm just not too sure if I'll get a trade, to be honest. I mean, we've rolled over here. I didn't really find an entry during that. I was actually hoping we could see a bit more upside for Aussie dollar and a push into this level. We might still see that happen, so I'm not going to rule that out. We are respecting support now, but maybe price does bounce and pushes up and then gets a sell. So definitely don't want to disregard that setup completely, but of course we're not trading anywhere near that level, so I'm not going to be so fussed about that setup today, and I'm not going to be focused too much on the price action in Aussie anyway. So yeah, this is probably a chart which I'll focus back up again next week, but I'm still looking for a push into this low here. That's still the target for the week. This is still an area which I do like. Perhaps we do see an intraday opportunity, so maybe the market does pull back into, this is the 50-minute chart by the way, perhaps we do pull back into some supply here, and maybe there's a bit of a sell-off in the afternoon. But I wouldn't try and push the trade any further than that because we are respecting support pretty well here right now. So yeah, anything other than an intraday short, I don't really see much more of an opportunity there. This is where I was looking for the swing trade, and still am. But yeah, in terms of bias, in terms of direction, I am still looking at a bit more downside into 0.64. And then hopefully we can get the biggest swing after. We'll take a look at Aussie yen and then we'll go for euro. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. No worries, Lebsy. What is up? Hope you're doing good. So yeah, for Aussie yen, I'm actually really bearish as well. Both, it looks like a lot of Aussie currencies, I'm looking for AUD to be weak. I'm buying pound Aussie. I was looking to buy euro Aussie. I'm looking to sell Aussie yen. I'm looking to sell Aussie dollar. Yeah, I was going to say Aussie CHF as well, but that's more to do with CHF. So for the most part, it looks like I'm pretty bearish on Aussie itself. And yeah, judging the price action here for Aussie yen, we've come back into a big area of supply. Price had a really aggressive drive into that zone, followed by a really aggressive reaction, which gave us the inverse V-shaped pattern, which is a very, very powerful reversal pattern. And now that price is going to broken through structure, this for me means even more downside. So perhaps we could be talking about a push back into this area, which of course gave us our last big bullish leg. I think that could be a lovely target maybe for the upcoming week. So I do want to see a pullback for Aussie yen to start things off, because we've just gone and taken out a major low. This is not the time or place to be looking to try and short the market. But if we can pull back pretty much anywhere within here, I do think that would be a smart place for a short, at least to push back into the prior low, but most likely some new lows beyond that is what I'd be looking to target. So yeah, Aussie yen really bearish. Somewhat of a head and shoulder pattern coming into play. And effectively looking to try and catch that right shoulder. But yeah, with the yen coming into play, with the yen respecting the support level this week, if price does really reject that, the yen does have room to reverse into, because effectively this is a bit of a range, and perhaps price is rejecting the low to push to the up end of the range, and that could mean quite a few weeks of bullish momentum for the yen, which means the yen pair should be heading lower. And of course, Aussie yen is in a prime place to take advantage of some shorts, so I'll keep an eye on that. Look at that weekly candle as well. Really aggressive wick to the upside last week. Now it looks like this week we're getting that bearish engulfing candle, so that's like momentum is shifting. So yeah, I think for next week you can see a bit of upside, catch a short, that'll look good. Targets back into this zone here. That looks like a sensible trade to me. We could go a lot further than that, but at least for the upcoming week, that's probably where I'll target. In terms of euro, again, the way I look at euro is pretty much a flip on the DXY. You know, we still do have a pretty confident uptrend here, and it looks like price has reacted to support pretty well. So even though we are approaching, you know, an area of supply where again price could very much put a lower high in, I did say earlier this morning, do keep an eye on this zone, because that's potentially where buyers could creep in, and if euro does want to go higher, that's where I do think we can go higher from. But for now, yes, we're in bearish territory, we're back in supply, and shorts do make sense here, but I still think it's a bit too early to be jumping into any shorts just yet. I mean, I'm looking at the price action, you know, pretty continuous to the upside. I like it because it's corrective. We're not seeing, you know, crazy bullish momentum. It's quite slow, quite corrective, which implies that again we could be getting ready for a move down. Again, I think it's still just a bit too early to jump into some shorts. Maybe we see a bit of downside, but I wouldn't be surprised if we find support again intraday and continue to the upside. So yeah, I think the dollar's just in a, because I do like the buys on the DXY, but we have to be careful because we are still very much in this bearish trend here. So just by default, us taking buys in the situation, I would deem it as counter trend. I know we've seen a bullish trend for the past couple of weeks here, which is essentially the trend we're looking to follow, but this trend does still have weighting, and effectively if this trend if that trend is going to continue, the low high could already be priced in, and we could see price drop there, similar to what dollar CHF did. That put a lower high in a similar location, and that had a really aggressive move down, and it's not too far away from support. DXY could very much do the same thing, which is why I'm not trying to jump straight into buys straight away, and why I'm trying to be a bit more patient, because the buys here, I'm going up against this. I'm basically saying I don't expect that to continue. I'm looking for this to continue, which is a much smaller trend in comparison to all of this. So, by that nature, it's a bit more of an aggressive trade. It's counter trend, and I don't want to be the first person into that trade. I want to see really strong rejection to really, really give me confidence to say that, okay, this low it is holding and price is now ready for a move up, even if it's just a move back to here. And that would be enough for a first target for me. But yeah, I'm not quite convinced there on DXY to the upside, and same thing, same logic applies with Euro USD. I'm not quite convinced with a push down there just yet. It's a nice rejection, but nothing significant, nothing to say that, okay, this is going to be a high for us to move down. So yeah, being very, very patient there. Very, very patient, because we all got this rejection this morning. Pound USD as well, saw a bit of rejection there too, but yeah, I'm not quite convinced just yet. So I'm going to stay patient on pound USD. I think for now I'm just going to hold on to my pound Aussie trade, manage that accordingly. I have managed to trail my stops, so worst case scenario, we still walk away for decent profit there. Best case scenario, we go and hit that resistance. But you can see in the case of pound Aussie, we have this uptrend here which we're taking advantage of, and then of course we had a really, really aggressive reaction last Friday, which kind of implies that maybe this trend's going to kickstart again, maybe it's going to continue. And now price has had a bit of a pullback here, and we've got somewhat of a continuation. And all I'm looking to see is if we can hit resistance again, which we're not too far away from. So yeah, we'll see how we get going there with pound Aussie. That's the only trade I'm in at the moment for now. I've got a few pairs on the watch list, but I kind of want to see how this weekly candle does close. No problem, Bashi.